Tell me why every day I go out looking adorable, tits bouncing, skin glistening, and yet nobody ever hits on me or approaches me. Oh my god, like, please.
Like, legitimately, how did we get here? How did we get here? I swear these posts have to be freaking rage bait. Because with everybody existing on the internet now, there is no way that you make posts like this and not know what the hell's going on. I mean, I'm the queen of not knowing what's going on, so that's possible. But seriously, now I don't blame people when they say that us women don't know what we want. For so many years, for like the past 10 to 15 years, men have been told that they are disgusting, and the male gaze is terrible, and that something as basic and instinctual as finding the member of the opposite sex attractive is somehow demonic and wrong against women. But yet, women can do it, but men are not allowed to do it back, which is what really, really got me. And even though I was dating at the time, now I'm married, I was thinking to myself, man, you know, if I were still out there and single, I would be very upset because you have these small, insecure, broken women trying to dictate how the rest of us women feel, and it would be very awkward for me not having guys come up to me because they're terrified of being called a creep. And I've always been approached by men, and most women can probably attest to the same thing. They usually have men approaching them. So now you have these women out here trying to say that men are creepy for doing what they want men to do. They don't want men to approach them in reality, but yet a lot of them have Instagram and all these other social media platforms where they still want the male attention, because I promise you the majority of it isn't coming from women, and they don't have any problem with that. But yet, you see what I'm saying? Like, you're always contradicting yourself with these people. And then the small amount of vocal people out there make it worse for absolutely everybody else. And now we have women finally complaining why men need to step up. No, you need to step up and stop being idiots and decide what it is exactly that you want. Or when other women are speaking for you and you don't agree with them, call them out and say, you don't speak for the rest of us. Stop it. You're ruining things for the rest of us. Just because you have broken brain casing and daddy issues doesn't mean the rest of us have them. The rest of us are okay with men coming up to us respectfully and asking us out or telling us that we're beautiful. It's not that serious. And if you're in a situation where you can't exist around other human beings, even though I know that there's issues out there, if you haven't learned to handle your issues, then you should stay inside or go get therapy.
Pay attention to me tonight. I'm so fucking sick of this shit. Buy a drink. I mean, it's like very fucking simple.
And stealing Finance Bros salads. And then looking their name up from the salad order on LinkedIn, messaging them through there and being like, hey, oh my god, so sorry, I grabbed your salad. And that's how they're, like, sliding in. Why can't they just come up to us at a bar? Like, just please step up, or your salad's gonna fucking get taken. Your lunch is...
Wow. So you stalk people and steal their stuff for attention. But yet, if the same dudes were to come up to you in a bar or do something like that and approach you, you would call them creepy. Men can't even exist at men's spaces without women coming in and saying, we want that space. And it's bad enough that you have... men trying to exist at the gym. They're working out. And you're like, oh, you're staring at me, even though you literally go in their line of sight and you have a camera there to then stare at them and show them to the rest of the world when they're not even looking at you. And then when they mind their business and don't help you, you get upset. Like, I'm a woman and I'm getting frustrated by these weirdos. Like, if you make up your mind what you want. People are going out there and ruining people's reputations unwarrantedly, and you're also going out there and making a fool of yourself because you can't be that brain dead when it comes to the internet to not know what has been going on for the past 10 years. Like, dudes can literally go to jail if a woman just tells someone, oh, he did something to me, with no evidence required whatsoever. So you can't really blame guys for doing exactly what you've been telling them to do, which is to stay away from you. It's also possible that your energy is probably off and they can tell that you're crazy from a mile away. That could also be it.
What is everyone with the fit today?
That's great. That's why.
Every day, it's really getting old. Like, come on. It's not even funny. It is funny because you come here every day with a plan, making an outfit like mine.
At first, it sounded empowering. I don't dress for men. I don't need their attention. I like being unapproachable. But then women started admitting that men don't approach them anymore. They feel intimidating or they feel invisible. Now we're in this weird middle ground where women would rather swallow jeans than hear a man's opinion.
So as Janae's video says, we escaped the male gaze and somehow it backfired. What I find hilarious is that did nobody else figured this would happen? Did nobody else see this was a pattern that was going to form? Like, I peeped it right away when it happened, and other girls and other men said the same thing when all of this was starting with the whole man versus bear thing, and they were all saying, oh, it's going to get to the point where they're going to start complaining, don't look at us. Oh no, why won't you look at us? Like, it's so annoying. And at this point, I think that men, including my brothers and the men in my family, should just stick to your guns and just ignore women. Ignore them. Make them chase you. Because we were living in an easy mode for all this time. And then on top of that, you want to punish men for not even doing anything wrong. Like, I know there's creepy people out there. Trust me, I understand. But even in the situations where they post these videos on TikTok of women saying, oh, he's being creep, they're literally not doing anything. It's kind of like the same argument that people make for the whole entertainment sphere when they say, well, if you don't like something, don't watch it. Okay. And then when we don't watch it, they come back and wonder in shock and awe why no one's watching what they told people not to watch. Like, it's almost like if you do an action, it gets a reaction. And you not expecting the reaction to happen when you become the catalyst for that reaction means you're insane. It means that you're either really stupid or you're insane. One of those things, both of those things are bad.
Like, I'm setting it all up for him. Like, he doesn't have to figure anything out. He says Stone Street. Like, I'm supposed to know what that is. So now I have to go Google. Cute. I think I've been there. What's your schedule? Like, I can't even get the decency of a full sentence. Schedule's insane. Work crazy hours. Cool. You're really making me work for this. What every girl dreams for. I'm done with men.
And from the looks of it, they're done with you too. Like, these people have to learn. Like, I know it's not that complicated. People think that it is. But the whole Me Too thing became overkill because they were just saying, well, believe all women. And even when women lie, because they're humans, we're humans too. We lie, we cheat, we steal. Like, that's just part of being mankind, especially if you don't have a good upbringing. I mean, I don't know why this is so hard to believe. And why it was so shocking that a lot of women use this as means to scorn men or go after men and ruin their lives, even when the men didn't do anything, even when they were innocent. It got to the point where every expression of male interest was then deemed as harassment. And not every man trying to initiate a connection is creepy. And these women, or these fatherless people, did not have the understanding, the basic understanding or instinct to recognize that. A lot of men, especially the decent and really respectful ones, started backing off because they're like, well, first of all, I don't want to get fired from my job. I don't want to get dragged on TikTok. I don't want to go to jail. Why try talking to a woman if you might get accused of being predatory? Why risk your reputation or a confrontation or even rejection when the cultural vibe is now, men, sit down and shut up unless we give you explicit permission? A man can't even talk about his preferences. Women can say up and down how they want men over 7 feet tall with making freaking 700 figures, but men cannot do the same and say, hey, I want a woman who is fit and pretty and who is nice to me. They can't say that without people jumping down their throats and trying to chest burst them.
Well, last night they tried to shame me last night on Ruslan's show for having preferences. Ladies, do you have preferences? Do you want a guy taller than you? If you want a guy taller than you, then you exclude all the guys shorter than you. You want a guy that's making more money than you? Then you're excluding men that make the same or less than you. You want a guy a certain skin type, color, race, nationality, whatever. That excludes all the dudes that don't match that criteria. So you do have preferences. So when a guy has preferences, it's an ism.
Women are more than qualified enough to talk about masculine energy because women who are feminine are attracted to men who are masculine. But I guess my question is, when women talk about wanting a guy who can take the lead, who's confident, who can pay, who can provide, who can do all these great things in a relationship, that's okay. But when a man talks about what he thinks femininity is, or when he talks about what he desires in a relationship or a traditional relationship, he's met with a lot of hatred and contempt on the internet. I'm genuinely curious, like, what is a man allowed to exercise as his preference in women without getting shamed or degraded for saying something like that?
And the other thing I've noticed, and trust me, I've been around enough women, I've seen it, I've heard them talking behind closed doors, I know how they think. A lot of them have a problem with being submissive. They'll say, oh, I want this, and they'll read the books, and oh, I wish men were more assertive, but then when they are, you call the cops on them, or, you know, you ruin their reputation. You say you want one thing, but then you don't allow the men to just lead. You say you want them to be good fathers, but when the fathers exercise discipline, you undermine them in front of the children.
Tell you that you were so beautiful and I would love to get your number to take you out. And my instant reaction was, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I have a boyfriend. Which is not true. I don't know why I said that. I'm actually kicking myself for saying I do not have a boyfriend. I'm not talking to anyone, but my instant reaction, because no one's ever done that to me before, I froze and was like, I'm so sorry, I have a boyfriend. And he's like, oh, that's really sad, but you never know if you don't try. And I'm like, yeah, I really admire you for coming up and talking, thank you so much, have a beautiful day. And he's like, you too, miss, all the best. Ah! Why did I tell him I had a boyfriend when I don't? Ugh. This is why I'm single. This is why I'm single.
I told my husband about this too, and I have a thing in my relationships, and I know this is not speaking for everybody else, everyone is different, but in my relationship, I share everything with my husband. Even my other relationships. All I want is, hey, honesty. The both of us have each other's back. We trust each other with our lives. We should be honest about everything. We shouldn't judge each other for our things, you know what I mean? So we know everything about each other, even the really weird things that probably other people wouldn't know. That's part of trust. And I expect that from my partner, and he expects that from me. One of the things that I do is I always tell my husband where I am. If I'm going somewhere, if he doesn't feel comfortable with me going somewhere because he feels like it's unsafe, I won't go there. I won't be like, you're trying to control me and all that shit that people do. If I say, hey, can I have this as, a chocolate or whatever it is, and we have a certain budget for things, and he says no, I listen to him. I personally like being submissive. I like someone who can take control. And I legit was in a store, and the woman waited till he walked away. And this has happened several times with other women telling me this. I know they probably mean well, but they literally were like, oh, you could just take it anyway. And I said, no, that would be dishonest. And she's like, girl, you have a lot to learn. And then there was another situation where I was out with these other women that I met. I don't even know them. And it had been an hour. I was walking the dog and I met these people. And these women were basically telling me their life story. So I told them, hold on, it's been quite a bit of time. I don't want my husband to worry. Let me call him and let him know where I am. And then they went on to say, well, sometimes women need a bit of mystery and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to tell him absolutely everything. Do you tell him absolutely everything? I said, yes. And they literally looked at me and smiled and shook their head and said, girl, you have a lot to learn. Or one of them said that. The girl, you have a lot to learn. As if there's this unspoken rule that women are supposed to hide things from their partner. Even when they're out there flirting with other guys and they're in relationships and they expect me to do the same thing. And I say, nah, I'm not going to do that. And they get all weird and ask why I'm like that with a dude and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you wouldn't like your dude doing that. You would probably lose your shit if he was out there doing that with his boys. So why would you do the same thing that you don't expect of him or you don't want him to do? And then I get dragged for it. Not in real life. In real life, they're really respectful, but on the internet especially, they will quickly drag you. But if the man does the same thing, something's wrong with him. He's sexist. He's misogynist. As a matter of fact, you know how many times I've been attacked just for talking about stuff like this? And girls call me misogynistic or having internalized misogyny, or a man is somehow controlling me. Because God forbid I'm a woman who has her own thought process and might not agree with what you're saying, which I find rich, because isn't that stepping on women and punching down on them by thinking that they can't have their own mindset, and if they do contrary to what you want them to do, something is wrong with them? It's so weird because women will be the ones doing that to other women, which is crazy to me. There's this new thing now that if you are a woman who speaks up about stuff like this, like me, you're labeled a pick-me. Which is so weird because, first of all, why would you not want to be picked? A man wants to be picked by a woman wants to be picked by a man if they're interested in that relationship. So I don't even know how that became a derogatory situation. And second of all, I'm married. Are you projecting? What is it about what I'm saying is so negative to you? Me just simply saying, hey, you have preferences? Men have preferences. You don't like this? Men don't like this. Why are they then women who speak up about this labeled as pick-me's or insulted by other women for simply addressing the very real fact that all humans have preferences and all humans have feelings? Make it make sense.
A woman can ruin your reputation, render you unemployable, and land you in jail. The difference between a welcome approach and harassment is how desirable the woman finds you.
So honestly, I don't give a damn. I don't feel sorry for any of these women that are crying for attention, because one of the things that happens with women that exist on social media like this is they thirst for attention. And the minute you take that away, it's a problem. Men, stand to your guns. Women, if you really care about men and you want them so much, just understand that this is the environment that you and your sisters created, and you're just going to have to deal with it. If something happened to my husband or we split up or whatever the case is, I would have to deal with the fact that, guys are not comfortable with approaching women anymore. Doesn't matter how pretty you are, how much you think that men should just fall at your feet. You have now created the very real environment in which you have changed the game for yourself. You've made it backfire, and now you just have to approach guys. It is what it is. Don't be mad. You weren't calling out your sisters when they were doing all of this stuff. As a matter of fact, a lot of these women were cheering other women on. Yeah, how dare he have a preference? How dare he come up and say that you're beautiful? You don't exist for his eyes. Then date your fellow women or leave men alone. Or just do what you need to do. Be strong and independent and go up there and pull up your big girl granny panties and approach the dude. It really is that simple. Like you said, you're telling them it's not hard for them to step up and ask you out. Then it shouldn't be hard for you either, because we're equal, right?
It could be weight, it could be color, it could be income, it could be hair length, it could be nails, it could be whatever he wants to say. If whoever he's alienating with that preference, it's going to be think pieces written. He going to get bashed. Oh my God, I can't believe you would say something like that. But when women come out and say, my man got to be 6'2", my man got to be chocolate, my man got to be this. Men are not writing think pieces about that. We're not. We're not taking it that personal, especially if we didn't shoot at you directly. If I'm just scrolling and reading tweets and I just see a random chick say, oh, okay, she like 6'2". Okay, cool. She don't look that good to me anyway. Let me keep scrolling. That's how most men are going to process that. Right. But women will literally stop and be, whoa, who is this? She don't even know them. She don't even know them. Mm-hmm. Wait, what do you mean that you don't like women that's so 210? Like, what the fuck is that?
And the other thing I find really rich is that a lot of these women that are getting mad at men for not wanting fat women or tall women or whatever the case is, they will look at a man that doesn't fit their preference, and that man approaches them and they're like, oh, get your fat ass away from me. I don't want no nasty, jiggling, fat ass lard bucket whale of a freaking man. But yet you yourself is a fucking whale. Like, what are we talking about? You don't want to settle for what you deem as disgusting and gross, but yet you look exactly the same as those men that you are rejecting, and you're trying to give that to someone way out of your league. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, that doesn't even make sense. I don't understand it, and then it's a problem. So are you not being fat phobic to the men that are approaching you that are fat? You see, it only goes one way, which is why people don't respect people like this. And that's why things are the way they are. But I do think it's mostly because of the whole, I could go to jail kind of situation that's happening. Honestly, if I was a dude and this was the current environment, still in this current environment, I wouldn't want to have anything to do with women. I would just sit and beat my meat all day because it's more safe that way. Because it's a 50-50 whether or not the woman is crazy. And let's say you do reject her. Let's say she vibes with you and you reject her and you're like, I don't really want to be with this person. It is what it is. I'll just move on. This isn't working. She keys your car. She calls the cops. She says you hit her. Everyone just believes her. You go to jail. You can't, that's a hell of a risk to take for a dude. I would just stay by myself, especially because I'm an introvert. Oh, fuck that noise. So I completely understand where men are coming from. Women, you need to step up and we need to change the environment. I think it is starting to change now. Women are realizing this, but I still see more than the average women online, at least, villainizing men for having preferences. And when women act like this, you'll have men cheating videos. Oh my God, look at what he did. Horrible, right? Understandably. Cheating is wrong. A woman does it and she's going crazy and blocking his car, but you don't know what he did to make her do that. Like, what in the world? Ooh, I don't know how men stay sane. I don't know how they stay sane with this constant, not to mention the media. The media is also responsible, talking about how certain men are pasty and just being really racist or sexist towards men, and that's totally okay. Dare the man have standards. Remember what happened to, what was that guy's name again? I think it was Jonah Hill. When he was using the word that his therapist told him. He was trying to be mature and telling his woman it's healthy to set my boundaries, and this makes me feel unsafe. Whatever he was saying about how she was acting, and women were getting upset. When women use therapists speak, yes, girl, that's right. Speak your truth. But then when he uses the exact same language that they do, oh, he's being manipulative using the therapy speak. Oh my God, bitch, shut up. Oh my God, I am so sick and tired of people like this. Good grief. Go on. If you're having a problem with getting attention, that is on you. I'm not saying that those people are specifically a result of why men are doing that, or they're one of the women that were doing that, but read the room. Read the room and understand. And just know that this is your current existence and it sucks. Deal with it. Deal with it, or go to another country and deal with that. I promise you probably won't like it so much, because you probably won't have as many rights in that country. But everywhere you go, everywhere that has these Western ideals now where they're putting down men, the same thing is happening over there. Even in Asian countries, a lot of people would be shocked to know that you still have to do the same amount of work as a woman in those countries, in certain areas, as you would have to do here, because that's just what feminism does. But anyway, that's just me. What do you guys think? Men, do you ever see yourselves getting back to a point where you would take the risk and start approaching women, or has the bridge been burned to the point where women have been screaming at the ceiling that they don't want you approaching them, to the point where you're just tired or you're just over it? And women, how do you feel about this? If you're the ones that were against the male gaze, are you now pleased that you have achieved what you set out to do? Or are you one of those feeling the effects of not getting the attention that you actually want deep down inside, because that's how you're built?